Welcome to Lento Business English. Ready to level up your business English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. A big surprise happened. It was a very important event. This event surprised many people in many countries. News came out about an attack. It was a large attack. The news said the attack happened deep inside Russia. This was far from the border with Ukraine. People heard that the attack used small flying machines. These machines are called drones. Many drones flew a very long way. The news said the drones attacked places where Russia keeps its war planes. These places are called airfields or air bases. Some of the planes were big planes. They were important for Russia's army. The attack was very big. It happened in different places across Russia. Some attacks were in the west of Russia. Some were near Moscow. Some were very far east, thousands of miles from Ukraine. This attack was very bold. It showed that Ukraine could reach far into Russia. When people heard the news, they had many questions. How did this happen? How did the drones fly so far? What was the reason for this attack? What damage did it cause? The world started to watch closely. Everyone wanted to understand what happened on this day. This event was very significant. It happened just before some important talks were planned. These talks were about peace between Ukraine and Russia. The talks were planned to happen in a country called Turkey. The big attack made the situation difficult for these peace talks. This event was a reminder. It showed that Ukraine is still fighting. It showed that Ukraine can do surprising things. Even though Russia is big and strong, Ukraine can still be a strong enemy. Planning this attack took a long time, maybe more than 1 year. The attack showed that places deep inside Russia might not be safe anymore. Before this, many people thought these places were very safe. The news spread quickly around the world. People talked about it on television and on the internet. This story will tell you about the events of this day. It will explain how the attack happened. It will explain what the targets were. It will explain the damage that was done. It will also explain the message that Ukraine wanted to send. Finally, it will look at what this event means for the future, especially for the idea of peace talks. It was a day that many people will remember. It changed some ideas about the war. It showed that the fight is not finished. It showed that surprising things can still happen. The event was called Operation Spider's Web by Ukraine. This name sounds interesting. It suggests something complex and far-reaching. This chapter is an introduction. It tells you that something big and surprising happened. It tells you that this story will explain everything about that day. It will take you through the different parts of this important event. 2. A big surprise attack. Ukraine gave this big attack a special name. They called it Operation Spider's Web. This name was for a very large and surprising military action. This operation used a great number of small flying machines. These were drones. There were many drones involved, more than 100 of them. These drones did something very difficult and impressive. They flew a very, very long distance. They traveled deep inside the country of Russia. They went thousands of kilometers away from Ukraine, reaching far beyond the usual conflict areas. The drones had specific places they needed to go. Their main targets were important Russian airfields. Airfields are military bases where airplanes are kept and fly from, often with runways and hangars. Russia has many airfields, but the drones went to several key ones located across the country. These airfields were important because they had many valuable Russian warplanes parked there. The drones aimed directly at these aeroplanes on the ground. Some of the planes that were targeted were very large and powerful. They were called strategic bombers. Bombers are big aeroplanes that can carry and drop heavy bombs or fire long-range missiles. These bombers are a very important part of Russia's air force. Other important military aeroplanes, like radar planes, were also targets in this operation. The goal was to damage or destroy these valuable Russian warplanes while they were on the ground at the airfields. This attack was very brave and unexpected. It was a bold military operation carried out by Ukraine. The attack did not just happen in one small place or near the border. It covered a very large area of Russia. The drones hit airfields that were far apart from each other, showing the wide reach of the operation. They reached places from the western part of Russia, closer to Europe, all the way to the far eastern parts of the country, deep in Siberia. This wide area made the attack very significant. It showed that Ukraine could reach thousands of kilometers inside Russia's territory. It was a big surprise for Russia and for the world watching the conflict. Many people thought that places deep inside Russia were safe from attacks by Ukraine. But Operation Spider's Web showed that this was not true. The drones flew a long and difficult journey across this huge country to reach their targets. The operation used many drones flying at the same time towards different airfields located far from each other. This made it very hard for Russia to stop all the drones. The attack was carefully planned to hit multiple important military targets across a vast geographical area at once. It was a major event because of how far the drones traveled and how wide the area of the attack was. It was a clear demonstration of Ukraine's ability to plan and carry out complex operations far from its own borders. This big surprise attack marked a new moment in the conflict, showing Ukraine's determination and capability to strike deep inside its enemy's territory. 3. Making the plan. The plan for this very big attack was not simple, and it did not happen fast. In fact, it took a very long time to prepare everything needed. People worked carefully on this important plan for more than 1 year. It was a complex job that involved many different steps, all kept secret. The first step was to get the right tools. Small drones were chosen for the job. These drones were made in Ukraine. They were not very large, and they were not very expensive to make, especially compared to the big warplanes they would target. But these drones were designed to be smart machines that could travel a long distance and hit specific places with accuracy. Next, a very important part of the plan was to get these drones into Russia without being discovered. This was a secret operation within the main plan. The drones were brought into the country quietly and without attracting attention. To keep them safe and hidden during their journey, they were put into special containers, like boxes made of wood. Once the drones were inside Russia, they were not used right away. They were kept hidden in safe places for a necessary period of time. When the moment was correct according to the plan, the drones needed to be moved closer to the targets. This transport was done using regular trucks. The drones, still in their special wooden boxes, were placed onto flat wooden bases called pallets and loaded onto the trucks. These trucks then drove to different locations far away from the border, getting close to the Russian airfields that were marked as targets. When the trucks arrived at the chosen places near the airfields, the drones were prepared for flight. The people who would control the drones were not physically present at these launch sites. They were located far away in a secure place. From this distance, they used special control equipment to fly the drones. They could see the drone's view and guide each one precisely towards its target. A large number of drones were part of this attack. The plan used a total of 117 drones. Each one had to be controlled individually and carefully. The long time spent planning meant thinking about every single detail. How to get the drones into the country secretly, where to hide them, how to move them using trucks to the right places, and how to manage and control so many drones at the same time from a long distance away. This careful preparation over more than 1 year was essential for the attack to be possible. It showed the detailed work and patience of the people who made the plan, ensuring everything was ready before the 117 drones took to the air. 4. Seeing the attack. Suddenly, people started to see strange things. They looked outside or watched their phones. Soon, videos began to appear online. Many people shared what they saw on social media. The videos showed different places, but many had something similar. There was smoke, there was fire. These signs of trouble were seen at several airfields in different parts of the country. From far away, the smoke went up into the sky. Sometimes, bright fire could be seen on the ground below. People watching the videos online were surprised and asked questions. One video showed a very specific moment. It was filmed near a petrol station far from big cities. In the video, there was a large truck parked. Suddenly, a small flying object came out from the truck. It was a drone. The drone started to fly up into the air. It then flew away, going towards a target. In the same video or other videos from nearby, sounds of gunfire could be heard. People saw police officers. The officers were trying to stop the flying objects. They used their guns to shoot at the drones in the sky. They wanted to bring them down before they could reach their goals, but there were many drones. The news about these events spread very quickly. People in one city saw smoke and fire. People in another city saw a drone flying. People far away saw videos online. The news traveled fast from one place to another. Everybody started to talk about what was happening. The attack was not hidden. Many people saw parts of it, and the world saw it online. 5. The damage done. After the attack, Ukraine spoke about the results. They said that many Russian planes were destroyed or badly damaged. These planes were at different airfields deep inside Russia. Ukraine said that big bomber planes were hit. These include the Tu-95 and Tu-22 types. These planes are important because they can carry and drop bombs or fire missiles over long distances. Another important plane was also a target. This was the A-50 plane, which is like a big eye in the sky for Russia, helping them see things far away and control other planes. According to Ukraine, 117 drones were used in this big attack. They claim that 40 Russian bomber planes were destroyed. This is a large number of planes for Russia to lose in one event. Ukraine also spoke about how much money the damage cost. They said the attack caused damage worth billions of dollars. The number they gave was $7 billion. This is a very high cost. Because many planes were damaged or destroyed, Russia's ability to use some types of missiles might be less now. The planes that carry these missiles are fewer in number. This attack showed that Ukraine could reach important military places far inside Russia and cause significant damage. 6. Ukraine's message. This big attack was a very important event for Ukraine. Beyond just the military actions, it was a strong way for Ukraine to send a message to many people around the world. Ukraine wanted to show everyone that it is still strong and capable of fighting. It wanted to show that it can fight back hard, even hitting targets located very far away inside the enemy's country. This was a clear sign of Ukraine's ability to act. President Zelensky, who is the leader of Ukraine, was personally involved in watching over this operation. People from Ukraine said that they had a special place set up inside Russia itself. From this secret place, they could help control the different parts of the attack. They also said clearly that this big and bold attack was done only by Ukraine, using its own resources and people. They did not rely on help from other countries for this specific operation deep inside Russia. The time when the attack happened was very significant. It came just before important talks about peace were planned to start between Ukraine and Russia. This timing was likely chosen on purpose to make the message stronger and more visible. Ukraine wanted the world to see what it was capable of doing right before these important discussions about the future of the war. The message Ukraine sent was very clear for everyone to understand. They wanted to say loudly, "We are still here. We are not weak, and we are not giving up the fight." They wanted to show that Ukraine still has many ways and options to fight back against the invasion. They wanted to make it clear that Ukraine still has important moves it can make and is not finished fighting for its land and its future. This attack showed that Ukraine is a very determined country. It showed that Ukraine is resourceful, finding different and surprising ways to fight back even when the situation is very difficult. It reminded everyone that Ukraine is a powerful and determined enemy that can reach far. The message was perhaps also aimed at people in other countries, including leaders in America. Some people might have thought that Ukraine had few options left and could not do much more. But this attack showed that Ukraine can still make big and surprising moves far away from the front lines. It showed Ukraine's ability to reach deep into the enemy's land. This was a powerful message sent by Ukraine at a very important time, right before the planned peace talks. It showed Ukraine's strong will to keep fighting for its future and its freedom. It was a statement that Ukraine believes it still has important cards to play in this difficult situation. 7. The world hears news. The news of the big attack spread quickly. People in many countries heard about what happened deep inside Russia. Governments and news channels around the world reported on it. It was a very important event. The government in the United States, the White House, spoke about the attack. At this time, President Trump was the leader. The White House said they did not know about this large attack before it happened. This was an important point for many people to hear. For a long time, many people thought Russia was very safe from attacks. They believed that Russia's own land, far from the border, was protected. There was a strong idea that no enemy could reach deep inside the country to cause serious damage. This idea of safety was shaken by the attack. The drones flew a very long way, thousands of kilometers from Ukraine. They hit military places far inside Russia. This showed something new. It showed the world that Ukraine could reach areas that were thought to be safe before. It changed the way some people saw Russia's security. This attack was seen as very bold. It made people think differently about the situation. It showed that Ukraine had the ability to plan and carry out complex actions far from the front lines. This was a new development in the conflict. The international community watched closely. Leaders and experts in different countries discussed what this attack meant. They thought about how it might change things. The fact that Ukraine could reach so far into Russia was a big surprise for many. News reports showed maps of where the attacks happened, highlighting the great distances. This picture of Ukraine's reach was new to the world. It made people understand that the conflict was perhaps different from what they thought. The world heard the news and saw that the idea of Russia being completely safe deep inside its borders might not be true anymore. This event was a clear signal about Ukraine's abilities and the changing situation. 8. What next for peace? Before the big drone attack happened, there was a plan for peace talks. Leaders from Ukraine and Russia were going to meet to talk about peace. They planned to have these talks in the country of Turkey. The big attack happened just before these talks were supposed to start. This timing made the situation for peace talks much more difficult. When a big event like this attack happens, it changes how people on both sides feel. It makes it harder for leaders to sit down and talk about finding a way to stop fighting. Both sides have strong feelings because of the recent events and the difficult things that have happened in the war. Also, in the time just before the planned peace talks, Ukraine had faced other hard times. Russia had sent many drones and missiles to Ukraine. They hit cities like a city called Zaporizhia. These attacks caused damage and hurt people who lived there. At a place where Ukrainian soldiers trained, 12 soldiers were killed. The person who was the leader of the Ukrainian soldiers fighting on the ground decided to stop his job. He resigned from his position. These difficult events happened for Ukraine around the same time as the big drone attack by Ukraine happened. This shows that both sides have had recent losses and difficult experiences. Because of the big attack by Ukraine, and because of the recent attacks by Russia and other difficult events on both sides, it is very hard to know what will happen with the peace talks. The situation is not simple. It is difficult for leaders to talk about peace when these things are happening. After the attack, people were not sure if the talks would even still take place. If they did happen, it was hard to know if they could really help bring peace. The future of these peace talks is not clear. It is very uncertain what will happen next for peace between the two countries. Many people are watching to see if the talks can still happen and if they can make any progress towards ending the fighting.